Did you guys hear that Anthony Richardson tapped himself out of a football game? And what impact does that have on leadership, in your opinion of it? This is Tad Fulford with Rise Up in Real Estate, and today's topic, like a lot of my topics, might or might not have anything to do with real estate at all. I think it has everything to do, though, with leadership and the ability to lead. I've waited about 60 days to put this out, maybe 45 days to put this video out, because I wanted to find out what the rest of the story is. And we are learning more facts. But for those of you that are sports fans, you may or may not have heard that Anthony Richardson, who was a high round draft pick for the Indianapolis Colts, 9 or 10 games into the season and having an average season, but very good season, as everyone would say for a rookie quarterback, was in a critical situation in a football game where it was third down and he made a long play. And we're getting ready to have a fourth down that could have turned against a division opponent, could have turned the tide of that game and their season. And after the play, he tapped himself out of the game, which means he looked at his coaches and said, "Hey, take me out. I'm tired." We found out later on in an interview that he was tired from the play before. He said it was a long run and blah, blah, blah. And so he wanted to be taken out of the game. So then, firestorm of discussion. Everybody was pointing their fingers at this poor guy. The guy got on the interview afterwards and said, "Hey, I was just tired. I needed to come out. I didn't think I put my best foot forward in that next play. So I wanted to come out, let the backup, who's super qualified, 39 years old, by the way, 15 years older than Richardson or so, Joe Flacco, to come in and carry that fourth down play. They ended up not getting it and losing the game. But not even looking at that, looking at this play, I wanted to ask you, what does this have to do with leadership? The first thing I thought of in this is they attacked this young man for this one episode. And it has been poured out since then that, by the way, he got benched. The next game he did not play. They decided to sit him on the bench, let Joe Flacco take the team from there, and which didn't go well either, as well as they thought it would. But they did bench him, and it found out later on, after reading the story more about it, that there were some other things going on behind the scenes with lack of performance and leadership issues. But what I wanted to address today was the way the media attacked this young guy. Now, I never played professional sports, so I don't know anything well other than being a pro golfer for 10 years, but I didn't play professional sports at this level, so I'll put that caveat in there. But I want to tell you what a layman who is super involved in sports day to day and pays attention to what goes on, the landscape there. When I heard this story, I actually thought first, what a great leadership example. Watching my son play high-level basketball, I thought whenever he got tired, if he didn't admit to his coaches that he was tired, that he would actually hurt the team and it would be a detriment. So for him to raise his hand and say, "Hey, I need a minute," it was actually a positive thing. So when I saw this example of this on the highest level in football, I was like, wow, what a leader. But then I started analyzing it and I thought to myself, what does it say to his teammates? What does he say to everyone around him, to his fan base, when at mid-season form, if you're not injured, you're supposed to be in peak performance conditioning, for you to say, "Hey, I'm tired," after a 15-yard run. And it's not just a 15-yard run down the hallway. I mean, he's running against elite athletes in a situational period that was very stressful in that game. So I'm not saying it was an easy thing, but what is the real leadership example here? And my question to you is, was he right? And did he show ultimate leadership? Or was he wrong? And did he show ultimate failure of leadership in that moment? To me, if I had to give you my opinion, accountability is a good thing. And for him to go and say, "Hey, I couldn't go in this next play and perform at my best," it was almost like if he were injured, you would want him to pull himself out of the game so you could have the best possible chance of winning that next play. So to me, it was like a great leadership thing. Like, I would think that his teammates would trust that he understands his own body in that moment and would be able to pull himself out. I was in a minority when I listened to reporter after reporter after reporter that I highly respect and adore the work that they put out there, attack him for the lack of leadership and for letting his team down in that moment and for making the ultimate comment to his fan base and to the players in the locker room and to his coaching staff that, "Hey, I can't cut it at a high level." So I wanted to just put that out there for you. I think that in leadership for us, if I had to make a comment about it, I would say, if you are not, a word I use a lot, authentic, if you're not transparent, if you're not willing to be held accountable, if you're not all these things, which I felt like Anthony Richardson in that moment was those things, disregarding the rest of the story, if there's something that I don't know, which I'm sure there is behind the scenes, if he were the best choice for quarterback at that moment and he was doing the best for that team that he could at that moment, it was their best option for them just to say, "Hey, you've let us all down because you were exhausted and you were honest about that and you were transparent to the team and you didn't feel like you could be the best option for that next play. We're going to put you on the bench because of that, because even though you thought you were probably doing the right thing, you were doing the wrong thing." It just doesn't sit well with me. It kind of confuses me about leadership at that level. Like, I would imagine that some guys in the locker room would respect respect that. I would imagine that all the guys in that locker room have been there. And maybe some of them, that's the part that I don't understand transparently, is that at that level, you should push yourself to that next play no matter the results. Like the action of leadership in that moment and saying, hey, I'm going to do it no matter what, no matter the results, no matter if I don't have confidence or think I can do it, I'm going to do it just because the rest of the people believe that I should. Maybe that's the leadership lesson that I have to learn. Maybe there's something in the pushing past where you think you can go. I mean, he's an elite athlete. He knows his body. Even when you get to the point where you don't think you can, then you push so that you can. As an example for everybody watching, maybe that's the leadership lesson. But I'd love to hear your comments. I'd love to know what you think, because I'm kind of still confused even after reading the rest of the story. I think he still sits on the bench. He might have gotten a chance to go back in, but I don't know if he'll be traded, if he'll be on that team long term, if he ruined that trust by saying, hey, I'm tired after this one play, take me out. Not for the rest of the game, but other positions do that all the time. Running backs, receivers, but they're saying the quarterback is a huge no-no. So give me your thoughts. This is Tad Fulford with Rise Up in Real Estate, and I hope this video helps you help me rise up.